Why don't eggs tell jokes? They'd crack each other up. The film opens in Greece, where suave British spy Aubrey Argylle prepares to move in on his target, a terrorist named LaGrange. After a brief dance together, LaGrange has her assassins draw their guns on Argylle. He then contacts his partner Keira, who uses her tech to find a way for Argylle to get out. LaGrange then corners Argylle and Keira outside and fires at them, hitting Keira in the chest. As Argylle tries to save her, he contacts his other associate, Wyatt, to catch LaGrange before she can escape. Wyatt catches her, and he and Argylle interrogate LaGrange to learn who her employer is. It turns out she is working for Fowler, the director who also employed Argylle and Wyatt. LaGrange poisons herself before she can be brought in, and Argylle now wonders who he can really trust. The scene shifts to a book reading by Elly Conway, author of the Argylle book series that the character originates from, as the entire scene was from the last chapter of the 4th book in the series. After answering some questions, she later goes to her private cabin with her pet cat Alfie so that she can begin to write the 5th book. She spends the evening writing the whole thing, thinking she has completed it before going to bed. In the morning, Elly is contacted by her mother Ruth, who spent all night reading the manuscript Elly sent her. Ruth says the book is good, but she doesn't like the ending, calling it a cop-out. Elly then starts trying to write another new chapter to try and give the book better closure. She envisions several scenarios to give Argylle a better ending, but she finds herself drawing a blank. Elly decides to take a train with Alfie to visit Ruth in Chicago when she suggests to help Elly finish the book. On the train, she is approached by a man named Aidan Wilde. He pretends to be a fan of Elly's, before informing her there are people on the train who are targeting her. Moments later, a fan comes by with a knife disguised as a pen, forcing Aidan to jump into action and start fighting assassins while Elly tries to hide, though she visualizes Argylle himself in Aidan's place. One of the assassins is a man named Carlos, whom Elly recognizes from the book reading as a supposed fan. Aidan then takes Elly to the end of the train, where he blasts the doors off and parachutes with her and Alfie out of the train, where she passes out midair. When Elly wakes up, Aidan has cut his hair and reveals he took her to a cabin. He informs her that the assassins come from a sinister organization called the Division, led by director Ritter. They believe that Elly's books predict certain events in their line of work, and they have already read her manuscript for Book 5 and are waiting on her to write the final chapter. Ritter is shown executing his deputy director for failing to apprehend Elly and reacquiring a master file that can expose all agents of the Division. Furthermore, the character of Wyatt is based off of Aiden, while Keira was a real person who apparently really did die. Aiden brings Elly and Alfie along with him to find an informant named Bakuman, who is going to deliver the master file to him. Hoping to get an idea of where to find Bakuman, Aiden convinces Elly to start writing the next chapter, which Ritter and his men listen in on because some fans record Elly on their phones. The duo are led to an apartment supposedly belonging to Bakuman. They find nothing but an opening under the floorboards, where Aiden finds a book with information written by Bakuman. Soon, Division assassins start making their way toward the building, leading to Elly and Aiden hiding under the floorboards. After a while, Aiden springs out from underneath to start killing the assassins. Before more start coming, the two make their way to the roof and jump off onto a dumpster below. Aiden brings Elly to his place in London for safety. He goes into the bathroom and talks to his employer with the shower running, and Elly overhears Aiden saying that she needs a bullet in her head. Fearing for her life, she grabs Alfie and contacts Ruth so that she can go to Chicago herself with Alfie. Upon arriving, Elly rejoins Ruth before her father arrives, and it turns out to be Ritter. He starts going through Elly's stuff before Aiden arrives, telling Elly that these two are not her parents. After Ritter drops the dad act, Ruth, whose real name is Margaret Vogler, pulls a gun and a British accent on Elly. Aiden shoots her and knocks Ritter out before getting a horrified Elly out, unfortunately leaving Alfie behind. Aiden escorts Elly to meet his employer, Alfred Alfie Solomon. Here, Elly learns the real agent Argylle is none other than Elly herself. Her books were not predictions, but rather memories of her past life as a spy. Her real name is Rachel Kyle, Agent Argylle, and she lost her memory after a mission gone wrong. Ritter and Vogler got to Rachel before Aiden could, and they posed as her parents, making her believe she was always an aspiring writer so that she can document her thoughts down and eventually bring her down. They were hoping for the latest book to reveal the location of the master file. Ellie is bewildered at the revelation until Aiden engages her in combat, and she is able to utilize her skills from memory to neutralize him. Solomon tells Ellie and Aiden that the master file is in the possession of a division associate named Saba the Keeper. The pair travel to Arabia, where Ellie must become Rachel once again. While waiting to speak to Saba at her compound, Aiden starts dancing with Ellie, saying that they used to be romantically involved. Saba sees Ellie alone and talks to her, where she acts well enough as Rachel for Saba to give her the master file. The division manages to track down Ellie and Aiden, capturing them and bringing them on board their large ship. Ellie had just learned that she herself was an asset of the division. A flashback reveals that she had killed Bakuman before taking the master file, and the explosion triggered by his apartment self-destructing led to her memory loss. In order to save herself, Ellie shoots Aiden in the chest to make Ritter think she is on their side. She also has to pretend that she doesn't care for Alfie, who is in Ritter's custody. In reality, she shot him in a specific area so that the bullet would go through his chest, but missing the heart, with survival being dependent on stopping the bleeding soon enough, something that Ellie got from a fan theory on how Keira could have been brought back. Aiden gets free and kills his captors before going to help Ellie. Ellie sees one last hallucination of Argylle, telling her that she never needed him to do what he could do, before she takes on Carlos and his goons, who have to stop with the gunfire after crude oil starts to leak out. Ellie then remembers one of her memories being ice skating, so she straps some blades to her shoes and slides across the oil, slicing through the assassins before fighting Carlos, ending with her throwing a knife into his heart. She shoots the rest of the assassins before she and Aiden take out every last villain on the ship as a couple, with plenty of flair. They make it to the ship's control room to send the master file to Solomon, but Ritter aims his rifle at them. Alfie then lunges toward the villain and begins to claw at his face, giving Aiden a chance to shoot and kill Ritter. Unfortunately, Alfie clawed out his eyes, as a retinal scan was needed to complete the upload, but Aiden finds an alternate way. The duo begin uploading the file to Solomon, but Vogler shows up with a music box that mind controls Ellie to try and kill Aiden, which also makes her put the upload on hold. Aiden fights Ellie reluctantly, nearly dying until a masked assailant hops onto the ship and brains Vogler with a wrench, causing her to drop the music box, which shatters upon hitting the floor and severs Ellie's mind control. The assailant is Keira, who survived her gunshot wound the same way Aiden survived his, because it turns out Keira was the one who suggested the theory to Ellie. The three, and Alfie, send the rest of the master file and leave the ship to blow up, killing Vogler and anyone else left alive. Ellie and Aiden also finally kiss. Ellie returns to her author role and finishes Book 5, giving Argylle a proper happy ending. She goes back to the bookstore for another reading, and a fan asks her what happened to the characters after the story. Ellie says that, hypothetically, Solomon received high honors from the CIA for exposing the division, while Keira went to rise up in the tech field, and Ellie and Aiden appear to be together. Before Ellie ends things, another fan who looks much like a nerdier version of Ellie's image of Argylle stands to ask a question, but also suggesting Ellie might have questions for him, leaving her surprised. During the credits, a flashback to 20 years earlier is shown. A young Argylle enters a pub and seems to be working with the Kingsman Agency. They exist in the same universe. Text then appears saying Argylle, Book 1, as a film adaptation of Ellie's first novel, is said to be coming soon. If you enjoyed this video, don't be shy to hit the like button, and if you disliked it, hit the dislike button twice, just to be sure. It would be best if you watched the whole movie. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe for more videos like this.